What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, and today we're going to go over training camp battles. Specifically, the three that I feel like is going to be the most important battles to watch this training camp and for preseason, right? So, I'm supposed to have somebody here. They are apparently late. Something obviously has gone wrong. I will keep an eye out. If they show up, I'll bring them in. But until then, thanks everybody who's here. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Let's see here. We'll give it just one moment.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Oh, 5 of you now. Awesome. All right, so training camp battles to watch, right? Very important. We got some very, very important. What's going on, Chris Troger? Appreciate you being here. Very, very important positions that we need to figure out what's good, what's not, right? Obviously, some positions are already locked down. 1 through 4 wide receivers locked down. You know, tight ends generally. You pretty much know how that's going to end up working out. You know, our safety position, our offensive line is pretty well locked down, in my opinion. I think all the way across the board. I mean, obviously, Fisher will be the starting left tackle, but until he gets back, I honestly expect Tevey to have his spot until he gets back from injury. What are some other things that we need to talk about, right? Defensive tackle, both those spots are taken, right? The running back room, that's full, right? We know how that's going to work out. Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, I expect to be the full-time backup. Nahim Hines used in special situations. Him and Mack probably get about equal amount of opportunities, in my opinion. What's going on, Buck Dancer? What's going on, Colts Nation? Colts Nation does have a question, though. What do I think will be better, our offense or our defense? To be fair, ranked higher? As an overall, I think our offense will be ranked overall better than our defense. That's right. I really do. I think we'll have a top 10 rushing attack. I think we'll have a top 10 passing attack. I honestly believe that. Defensively, we'll probably have a top 5 run defense, but our pass defense, just like every year, will generally most likely be around 15 to 20. It's just, that's how I see it. There really wasn't any moves to increase what the secondary is going to look like, and that's actually going to be one point that I have to come in on the training camp battles. Company Eagles, thanks for being here. Interesting subject of discussion. I think so too. I really do. That one guy read an article that said we should trade Mack and a third for Julio. I don't see that happening, but could you see us trading Mack? Probably not. There's probably not a whole lot of interest in Marlon Mack, being he's coming off an Achilles injury. That's why he signed on a cheap deal here with Indianapolis on a 1-year deal. I don't think Mack would probably garner a 5th round pick currently, because a lot of teams outside of Indianapolis don't know what Mack is capable of. So a 5th and a 3rd don't even reach a 2nd. And obviously the Atlanta Falcons won a 1st round pick, so I don't see how that would even work. It just makes I don't see that working at all. Troger says our secondary has matured. Yes. It's another year inside that zone system of Matt Eberflus. What's going on inside the Horseshoe Podcast? Appreciate you being here. Colts Nation, wouldn't it be cool to see our O-line allow 0 sacks? That's not happening. I don't think that's happened in the history of the NFL since they've been listing sacks. So, I mean, would it be cool? Yeah. Who wouldn't want to see their starting quarterback never go down? But yeah, that ain't gonna happen. If you get under 20 sacks in a season, that's like a top 3 mark in the NFL. Top 3, So if we see, honestly, if Carson Wentz gets sacked less than 30 times in a 17-game season, if he's sacked less than 30 times, the O-line done its job. Especially with the way how I feel they're going to use Carson Wentz. Now, I'm going to get into this. If my guest shows up, I will pop him in. But something's going on because he was supposed to have been here. He knew it was 6 o'clock. He even retweeted my tweet. Guys, if you're here, please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell. Make sure all notifications are turned on. Because before I get going, I just want to talk about a few things, right? Like, hey, in the description of the video right down here, you can open up the description. Find my Patreon. These are my current patrons over on Patreon. Yes, I have 7. Once I have 15, I will be doing live streams for Patreon only. So don't miss out. Also, you could find me where you could find me on Twitter and Instagram at Colts_law. Both the links are in the description below. Don't forget my merch shop. You can check out my merch shop right here at the link in the description of the video. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items. And don't forget, if you want to do a super chat, I'd really appreciate it. It goes right to helping me get more stuff content-wise for you guys and better content, right? Helps me get film rooms done as well. So if you want to use that, please don't forget, use that link in the description where it says super chat, because I get more than twice as much out of that as a super chat that you would get here on YouTube. So just FYI. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's actually get into what my top guys are. I'll get back to the regular chat as we go. If there's any super chats or anything like that, I will pause and get to those immediately. That's just how I work now. I did get a new subscriber. Thank you, Driggs801. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, for my first group that I want to talk about here. Oh, he's not showing he is actually here, so give me a second. He says he is here, but he's not there, so I need to send him a different link, because apparently one moment. Donated $5 through Super Chat. Thank you so much. Man, you didn't even ask a question. Oh, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Don't forget, like I said, you could use the Super Chat, but feel free, use the link in the description to do that as well. So I'm going in. Oh, there he is. There's my guy. And apparently I had the wrong one or something. I don't know. So my other guy is setting himself up. So give me just a moment. You're fine. You're fine. Just give me the thumbs up when you're ready to go, Loyalist. I can't hear you. So just give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready to go, and I'll bring you in. I assume is that a thumbs up? No, not a thumbs up yet. All right. So what I'm going to do is I will come back and check with him just to see when he's ready. I'm going to give you my first. Oh, there he is. Okay. Bam! What's going on, my guy?
Hey, sorry, everything I do is through my phone. So whenever I go to contact you, I have to dismantle and then reset it. Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Driggs says love your film rooms. Well, I appreciate that because my film rooms are for you guys. You know, I could sit here and watch the film all day, but recording and explaining things and stuff like putting it in a simplified explanations for you guys. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do. You know, and it's super chats like that and getting into my donations and Patreon and my merch shop, that helps me do what I do. So thank you so much. I am bringing on Loyalist here, like I said, and together we're each going to give our 3 top position battles for training camp and preseason. And here we go. Because my top 1, and honestly, it's not necessarily tops, because I'm not going to give them in any particular order. But my first one that I want to talk about is the secondary. It's the cornerback position, right? Who's going to take that other cornerback spot, the outside corner? Because we know Xavier Rhodes has one outside cornerback spot locked down. And my question is, who's going to get the other one? And now I got to go back and look at this super chat. Thank you so much, Inside the Horseshoe Podcast, for another $4 one. $5. I see it now. Thank you so much. Again, you didn't say nothing. You could say stuff. I promise you. I will announce any comments, questions, anything. You drop it in there when you do the super chat. I'll be more than happy to answer, or just read your comment and maybe throw my opinion on it. But with that being said, who's going to be the starting second right corner, right? There's 3 guys that I feel like could legitimately take that position. And I don't know who it's going to be. I honestly don't. Because Rock Ya-Sin currently, I think, has that down, right? I believe that is who's got it currently. But there's 2 other guys that could have that position. I mean, we know of the free safety, Marvell Tell, played some cornerback in his first year. But we've got 2 new Sean Davises on the team that play safety now. So Marvell will probably play corner. Could he legitimately fight for that starting cornerback position with Rock Ya-Sin? We will see. There's also TJ Carey in the mix. Don't count him out. Yes, TJ Carey's better at nickel, but Kenny Moore plays the majority of those nickel snaps, like 90%. Why? Because he's just that darn good at it. And TJ, the last few games of the year last year, came in for Rock Ya-Sin and played pretty darn good on that opposite corner, opposite Xavier Rhodes, in place of Rock Ya-Sin. So that, in my opinion, is one of the battles that should be kept a very close eye on. Loyalist, what are your thoughts? What is one group that you feel, and the reasons for that, is a group that we should be keeping an eye on?
Okay. Real quick, can I go to say something about what you were saying with the cornerbacks? I think it does. It is important to figure out who our second corner is going to be. But I also think it's important because right now, as it stands, we don't have anybody at cornerback that's under contract more than 2 years. Xavier Rhodes, TJ Gary, they're all on 1 year. We've got these young guys coming in. We need to see if they, are they the cornerbacks of the future? Are they the 1 and 2, not just the 1, or not just the 2 cornerback? But as far as another position that I'm really amped up to see, that's the defensive line. There is so many moving pieces to the defensive line. I mean, as far as the number of players involved, the number of people that you're going to have on your roster, I'm just really amped up to see what these young guys look like that we drafted this year. I know Adeo we may not see until next year or late this year, but I just really would like to see these guys in camp and see, see where they're at. Are they in battle, for the first starting spot, or are they rookies that need to come in and get their feet wet and get more acclimated?
Well, you're talking about that defensive line. And I'm going to get a little bit more specific because that's another position battle that I want to look at is the pass rush, right? The outside defensive ends. We lost both of our starters last year, as you know. And right now, I'm pretty sure that Kwity Paye's locked in on one side, even though he is a rookie. And most people are assuming Tyquan Lewis has that other side locked down, but you don't know. Whether it's Kwity Paye or Tyquan Lewis, because legitimately, Isaac Rochelle, Kimoko Toure, Ben Banogu, those are guys we need to keep an eye on because I feel like they could surprise people, not just in training camp, but in preseason. If they really show out, they could take a spot from one of these guys. Now, I'm not saying that Kwity Paye, if Kwity Paye does not start, that does not make him a bust. He's still a very raw talent, right? He could be a guy that could be a third down specialist, much on the lines of Kimoko Toure, right? Whereas Tyquan Lewis and Ben Banogu, those are guys that are more three down backs. So I'm curious to see where that's going to filter out on the pass rush defensive end side of the ball. Is that kind of where you're looking at, or are you looking more along the lines of the defensive tackle? Because I do feel Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner have those starter positions locked down, but man, right behind them, who's going to be the backups to those?
And not only that, I was also thinking along the lines when we're in third down pass rush. When we've got the Indy package, they call it. Where everybody's going at the quarterback. That's when you're going to pull Grover out. Now, who are you going to fill Grover in? I mean, I think DeForest is still going to stay there because he's extraordinary in all aspects of his job. But like I said, whenever you put in your speed package, who's going to be that third D lineman down there with? I think it's going to be Toure. God willing, he's healthy. I think Toure is going to be on one end. I think that you're going to be able to get Kwity Paye on the other end. And then, like I said, who's going to be? I like the thought of Lewis or Rochelle there alongside DeForest. At least until Deo gets healthier, because I think he's going to really fit in nicely alongside in the interior on the third down package.
Yeah, I do like what I saw with Dio. He seemed like a guy that can play just about any position along the line, especially when you're looking at, as you call, the Indy package, that speed package, that third and long or second and really long package that you're looking at. So yeah, absolutely. That's a situation that we definitely need to look into. What is another position group or specific spot on the roster that you're looking for, your second one? Because I've already named I've named two so far with my pass rush ends and that. What's another one?
Okay, well, I was like you. I had cornerback as being another big one for me. But another battle I think is going to be extraordinarily interesting, and it's not the long term. This is more on the short term. Okay, I think we're all coming to the realization that, Fisher's not going to be ready week one. The Colts aren't going to want to push him out there until he's ready. So, okay, we've got Tevey, I think, is going to be our starting tackle. But what do we have if he gets injured? What do we have behind Tevey? How are we going to solve that in weeks 1 through 5, let's say, before Fisher's able to get in there? Who's the backup for Tevey? Or do we move Quentin over and move Reed in at guard? I guess I just like to know what our, plan for the worst, but hope for the best type scenario would be. Who's going to be the backup to Tevey for the first 5 weeks until Fisher gets healthy and stuff?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't like the other guy that we selected. But,
Davenport?
Yeah, I'm not a high on Davenport. He might be better than LaRaven Clark, but I don't know about that. I don't know. Is Holden still on the... Let me look at this. I don't know if Holden is still on the... He should be.
Yes.
He is, yes. So we got Julian Davenport and Sam Tevey, and then Carter O'Donnell. Oh, no. Yeah, but we got Holden listed as a guard, right? Just like Reed. But Jake Benzinger is a guy also that we have at tackle. I still think Sam Tevey is that guy that probably is going to fill in for Fisher until he gets in. But at the same time, injuries happen, right? All the time. What if someone goes down? Who's going to be that backup? I honestly believe Danny Pinter will be a guy who will fill in for either of the guard positions, whether it's Glowinski or, help us if it happens. I'm not even going to say it, but you already know what I'm talking about.
That one was
yeah, Joey Hunt. And Joe, don't forget, we got Jake Eldencramp, too. You know? So we got some guys who could play guard. It's that tackle position outside of Fisher that's a little bit, I don't know, kind of like the way it was last year. Kind of scary. Now, to be fair, Sam Tevey played, I think, 15 games last year for the Chargers, right? And he did allow some sacks. He did allow a lot of pressures, but that was mostly because look at the division he was in. It's a lot of big-time pass rushers in that division, especially when you're looking at, like, the Broncos and with the Chiefs, they got Chris and that other guy that they got a couple years back. He's been doing pretty good as well. So they got the teams that they actually play had a lot of good pass rushers. But at the same time, I think if you give Tebby a little help on the outside, he's fine with guys cutting inside. It's that issue of the speed on the outside. So you get a guy who could block, whether it be even one of the wide receivers that we have, right? Like Pascal or Pittman, if they end up lining up close, or tight end, like I said, or even a running back, go out, help chip him inside. I think he'll be fine. But I think when Tebby's out there, we'll need to give a little bit of help. But you're right. I don't like seeing excuse me. I don't like the idea of putting Quentin Nelson over there because I've said this a million times. Quentin Nelson is a 10 out of 10 at guard. You put him over at tackle, maybe he's a 7 out of 10. Still good, right? Still very good, but maybe he's a 7 out of 10 at guard. And the person you're placing at left guard in place of Quentin Nelson may be a 6 or a 7 out of 10. So you have dropped overall in the amount of talent you have by moving him out of his premier position. So yeah. I would rather keep him there. Braden Smith talked about possibly going to that side as well under certain circumstances, and maybe a backup coming in at right tackle. That might be something that they would do if Tevey doesn't work out or something. But I would rather much see that happen than see Quentin Nelson move. But yeah, I get what you're saying about that offensive line.
I think Tevey, he's going to be a solid start for the year. I think people are going to be surprised. I went back, was watching some of his videos this weekend, and I'm like, I understand that he does let some pressures get in, but he is not as bad as I guess what I pictured in my brain as far as on the pass protection. And as a run blocker, I would love to see him and Quentin sit there and clear out that left side for the first 5 weeks. Let's just run the ball. But I don't think that, the rest of the team would care for that.
McChicken Blogs asked a question having a lot to do with this. Would you rather see Tevey or Valdir start at left tackle week 1? He knows that Valdir's a free agent, but it seemed like he was a solid backup last year. Valdir does not want to play a full season. So until we know exactly when Fisher's coming back, that's a problem. Valdir has physical issues. He played well last year in the playoffs, but there's a reason. He came out of retirement, from Green Bay, and played well, yes. But at the same time, I don't know. He might have just re-retired. And maybe that's a reason why the Colts haven't talked to him. I don't know. Maybe, is he still a free agent? I don't know. Let me look at this. Hold on. There we go. Jared Valdir is, yes, he is still a free agent. Yeah, he's still a free agent, so he has not officially retired. But I mean, he's not a guy that's going to be playing long term. He only wants to play a game or two, right? As a backup, and he's made that clear, to any team that wants to get him, that just physically he can't handle it anymore. So, would I wouldn't mind having Valdir there, but we would definitely need to know, and he would have to know, that Fisher is on his way back, and he'd only have so many weeks to wait. That's an issue. What'd you think of Jared Valdir in his game against Buffalo? Did you watch that?
Yeah, like I said, I watched it when it happened. But, I mean, if I had to choose between Tevey and Valdir, I'm picking Tevey. I mean, why sign another player and put out? I mean, I know he's probably not going to sign for a lot, but still, why sign for another player when we've got? I think Tevey is definitely more dependable, and he's much better in the run. Now, Valdir, he's got the advantage in the pass blocking, the way I see it. But like I said, to sit there and invest another roster spot and having to cut another young player to make that opening, I just, like I said, I think with what we got, I think if Tevey was to get injured or something, that's when we start, scrambling around and stuff. But till then, I mean, I think Tevey's going to be a great holdover spot until Fisher gets 100%.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in here because there's a lot of conversation right now in the chat about Eric Fisher coming back with that Achilles injury. Started off with the question about Dabney Offerman. So I'm going to address this real quick. Achilles injuries have changed dramatically over the last 5 years, mainly because a certain surgeon came up with a brand new way of doing these surgeries, which allows for faster recovery and better recovery from these surgeries. It's a lot different than it was even 5 years ago. Heck, the Chiefs thought that Fisher's return, the Chiefs' own medical staff had him listed as a July return. And the Colts, after he came and visited, their medical staff said an August return. This new surgery now has a return if done by this procedure, and the surgery done on Fisher was actually done by the doctor that invented this new operation, that their returns are listed from 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months, which is a July to October range on returns. So October is the latest that he is expected to be back, July being the earliest. So I'm just informing you, all of you in the live chat, about that it's completely different than what it was 5 years ago. And that's because of, medical advancements, and it happens. It happens every year. There's new medical advancements that help a person recover faster and better. So that's a great thing to keep an eye on. Now, I don't know about Dio because, his surgery. I don't know who had his surgery or what kind or what operation he had on that. I don't know if it was one of those 6 to 9 months. I haven't gotten information on that yet. I've asked around, haven't been able to get it. Same with Mac. I don't know. But I do know that Eric Fisher was done by the surgeon that invented that procedure. So that's why he is expected back a lot sooner. He's already out there walking around and stuff. Marlon Mack is out there running individual drills currently. And he's 6 months from his point. He'll be ready to do team drills here pretty soon. No setbacks. So that's telling you what we're looking at. So, and Fisher's out there doing it as well. So I'm just letting you guys know what I know. JDW, what's going on? Appreciate you being here. Ant Rogers, what is up? A lot of people in here that I see. A lot. My question. Let's see here. My third battle that I want to see this offseason. And a lot of people are going to list something completely different in this. And you'll probably name it, but I'm not going to. But my other position is the backup wide receiver. the fifth and sixth slot at wide receiver. I actually see that as more important than the starting Sam linebacker spot. Believe it or not. I'll explain why later. But I think the 5 and 6 spot at wide receiver is huge because that's going to be part of the future of the Colts. T.Y. Hilton's not going to be here forever, right? And that's a big thing. We need to know who's going to be there past T.Y. Hilton, Pittman, Campbell, right? And Pascal. Is it going to be Des Patman? Is he going to take that spot? How about J.J. Nelson? Michael Strawn, Ashton Doolin, right? We need to know. DeMichael Harris, he's got a shot. He looked pretty interesting last year. We got multiple people that are not going to make this starting 53, and I need to know who's going to be number 5 and number 6 at wide receiver because there's going to be times when they're going to need guys that's going to just be free-flowing with that, and you're going to see these backups a lot out there on the field, especially in certain packages. So I want to know who's going to be these guys. Is it going to be Patman? Is it going to be Des Patman? Yeah. Nelson, Strawn, Doolin, Harris. There's a whole bunch of wide receivers currently that we're waiting on. Tyler Vaughn, Courtney Davis, Gary Jennings, Tarek Black. There's a lot of wide receivers currently on our roster. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 wide receivers on the roster right now. We got to knock that down to 6. That's more than half of them. Who's making it? That's what I want to know, and I think that's why it's a very important situation. What's your third and final group that you want to look at?
Sticking with the theme of, plan for the worst, hope for the best. I want to know who our backup quarterback's going to be. Okay. I'm not saying that Ellinger is going to be that guy, but I want to know more specifically, is Eason that guy? Because if Eason isn't that guy, are we going to have to get a veteran backup, or is Norton, or I forget his name.
Jake
the
Ellinger?
Huh?
Ellinger?
No, not Ellinger, but not Ellinger.
Yeah, that other guy. Okay.
Yeah. Is he, is he just an arm for, off season and preseason, or is he actually, got a shot to? I don't know a whole lot about him either. And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of these 4th, 5th, 6th round draft picks, we even got last year, we haven't seen. We don't have. I mean, it's almost like we got 2 drafts worth of people to go look at this year during training camp and stuff, if they have it and allow everybody in and stuff, I really want to know who's going to be Carson Wentz's, in case of emergency type situation.
Yeah, that'd be Jalen Morton is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, I believe the Colts will have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. I really do. I don't think Jacob Eason is losing his spot. That's the great thing about preseason is we're going to be able to see Ellinger and Eason finally, 3 games. Eason's probably going to get the majority of the snaps, during these preseason games. Most likely. You'll probably see a lot of Ellinger. You may see some Morton. Probably will. But I honestly, from what I'm gathering, I think it is a position to watch because you want to see where they're at, right? In case there is an injury, because Carson Wentz is known for, being kind of injury prone here in the NFL. He hasn't had very many full season in his 4 years. He hasn't had many 5 years now, I think. Not many years where, he started an entire season. I think one. He's had every game of every season, and that's it. So makes me worry a little bit. And I need to know where Ellinger is. I need to know where Eason is. And that's a very good point. Now, I took Sam linebacker, starting Sam linebacker off my list, and I'll explain why. Last year, the Indianapolis Colts used a Sam linebacker only 30% of all defensive snaps. That's it. They were in base formation only 30%, and I think they'll be even less this year because of the depth they have at safety. I expect them to run a lot more 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and either 3 corners or 3 safeties, depending upon the lineups that the Colts are going to go up against. Specifically because of the 2 Davises they got this offseason, both Sean Davises. The one we picked up from Pittsburgh is a good free safety, rangy guy. And the other Sean Davis is a hitter that we could bring in on running downs or on big packages with bigger tight ends. So I actually believe that backup linebacker position, that Sam linebacker, is a position that I don't think is going to be utilized maybe 20% of the snaps or less in 2021. Now, granted, it could be, it's still a position that needs to be filled, but we've got guys on our roster who we could plug in who have shown that they can play that position when needed already. That's been with us for a while, right? Zaire Franklin, he's shown that he could play it. Matthew Adams has shown that he could play it. EJ Speed, I expect he could probably play. Sky Moore, Glasgow is more of a special teamer though. So, but we got guys. Franklin and Adams are also special teamers, but they've got experience playing that Sam linebacker position and doing okay. So Sam linebacker doesn't really worry me nearly as much as the other 3 that I listed.
Another possible fill-in at Sam linebacker is Ben Bannigan. I think that he could maybe even get some reps there during preseason and stuff to see, I feel like the Colts were really wanting to try to get him, I think they're trying to get Ben Bannigan to be what Tyquan Lewis was last year, to find his footing in the league and to really put some of them gifts that he has to work.
Yeah, Ben Bannigan's an interesting addition as well because of the simple fact that, he was drafted. That's what he's listed as a Sam linebacker, and they moved him up to the defensive end. He's probably gained a little bit of weight, so he's probably not as quick as he was with Sam, but it'd still be someone that could be thought of in those heavy packages, for defense. So, yeah, that is a good, goal line defenses. That'd be very interesting to go with. That's it that I've got. We're 40 minutes into the stream, and we actually got through the 3 training camp battles. Guys, what are some training camp battles here in the live chat? Go ahead and drop them. Any super chats that you do, whether it be through YouTube or through my StreamYard or Streamlabs down in the description of the video, I'll get to first. But what are some position battles you guys are looking for, and why? And, of course, opinions. Hey, Kirk Cousins, appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Nomadic says, with Eason, it was about correcting bad mechanics. How do you know if that was fixed without seeing him? Well, mechanics is one thing. It's his mechanics mainly while he was on the move, right?
Yeah.
Because when he was in the pocket, he looked really, really good when he was standing still. It's when he got pressured and had to move and trying to throw on the move, his mechanics was terrible. His accuracy just completely and utterly disappeared. But heck, I just watched a video where they were interviewing Pittman, and Pittman was talking about the workouts that he did out in California and Eason, with Eason and Wentz. He said Eason was dropping flat-footed 65-yard bombs on the money to him. Holy crap, flat-footed 65-yard bombs. Now, was he under duress when he was doing it? Probably not. So, you're right. Nomadic Brian, we need to see him under some duress, and you will see that in preseason, and that's where we're going to get a lot of our information about Eason. Going in through here, looking at some of this. How many preseason games this year? Only 3, correct? Yes, Dabney, only 3. As a matter of fact, training camp, the end of training camp will actually be overlapped with practices with the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, the last 2 days of training camp is with the Minnesota Vikings. The Colts will be hosting that team. I believe it's the Vikings. I'm almost 100% sure it's the Vikings. But they're hosting them for joint practices for that first preseason game. And then it's the Lions and... I can't remember what the other one was. I did a video on it.
What?
Couple
Wasn't it Miami? Wasn't it Miami?
Was it Miami?
I didn't write it down. I don't know.
Let me look here. Colts 2021 preseason games. Well, we only have one that's listed so far, and that's against the Lions. I don't know what the preview. But that's officially listed time-wise. Panthers. It's the Panthers that they're hosting. My bad. Not, well, maybe it, yeah, I think it's the Panthers they're hosting. Let me look at that real quick. Oh, yeah. It's Minnesota. They'll host the Panthers first, then Minnesota, then the Detroit Lions. My fault, guys. It took me a minute to find it. I remember doing the stream, and I just completely and utterly blocked it out for some reason. Yeah. Dabney said Panthers. Yes, you are right. Not a Colts question, McChicken Blog says, but where do you think Morgan Moses lands? I don't know. I don't think he lands with the Colts. He was just released, if I remember correctly, by the football team, right? So there's no question. Maybe he goes to the Chargers, or maybe he's not picked up at all. I don't know. Brian with a great question. Brian, great question. How much of a problem would Julio going to the Titans be for the Colts? I'll let you have first word on that.
I'll be honest, I didn't even think about it until the other day when you said it. And as soon as you said it, I was just like, because, I mean, to me, the two teams that Julio would just fit amazing with, I don't want either of them. I mean, I know you're a fan of the Green Bay, but I like Baltimore. And then when you put Tennessee in my ear, I was like, as much as I hate to say it, that'd be an amazing fit for them, too.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what would we do? You know, I mean, I still think, you know, our game there is, you know, getting pressure on, taking Julio, you know, because I like Xavier Rhodes against the bigger, more physical receivers, but not Julio. You know, I like the way he, you know, gets in there, but I just feel like Julio is going to eat up, even at 32 years old. I think he's good enough to still eat up most cornerbacks. So, like I said, I think our best way of eliminating Julio is to, you know, get that pressure, get some extra blitzes, you know, make it hard for him to find him.
Yeah, I mean, I had Julio in my stream that I posted about where his best fits, in my opinion, would be. I had Green Bay being number one because, I mean, him going to Green Bay would solidify the fact that Aaron Rodgers would stay. There's no question about that. And then Aaron Rodgers throwing to Julio and Devontae Adams is just a nasty, scary thought. I mean, just flat out. New England needs a receiver. That's what they're lacking on their offense, is one of those big 50-50 go-to guys. They got tight ends. They got smaller, quicker receivers that are route runners, and they got a good running game. They're just lacking that type of receiver. And then number 3 is the Titans that I had on there. And the Titans, they lost Corey Davis, they lost Jonnu Smith, they lost their offensive coordinator, and it'd be weird because that offensive coordinator went to the Falcons. So think about that. That legitimately could be one of those connections. Be like, since the offensive coordinator is now with the Falcons, he could be talking with the Titans about, that could be a trade that could happen. And A.J. Brown and Julio on either side for Tannehill would be a huge help to him. And it'd be scary. But I'm going to tell you what. I don't think it's going to be as dangerous for the Colts as what that question right there is, Brian. Because when I did, and I kid you not, you go back and look, when the Colts first signed Xavier Rhodes last year, I went back and did a film room on him. And when he was healthy at the beginning of the year in 2019, he locked Julio down, only allowed Julio 11 yards on like 5 targets. So, when healthy, Xavier Rhodes can lock Julio down. He is that good. He's actually better against those type of receivers than the small, quick, fast guys, right? So, yeah. I don't think it'll be that big of a situation. But the problem is they'll have 2 of those exact same type of receivers on the team. Obviously, I think you would put Xavier on Julio, but then who you putting on A.J. Brown, right? Because A.J.'s a big, strong 50-50 guy too. So, yes, I mean, that does hurt us, but we have a guy who could lock him down. That would just make A.J. Brown more of a problem. That's my thoughts. Company Eagle says that the wide receiver depth battles will be interesting. I absolutely agree. If the Titans get Julio, Dabney says, then they are just simply after the Colts big time. They took our left tackle in the draft to Runts. I don't know if they took our left tackle. I mean,
right.
I think the Colts got basically who they were traditionally after. They were hoping that a traditional left tackle would fall to them at some point, but they were taking pay over just about any left tackle that was going to fall to them, minus maybe the top 2, right? That was pretty much what Ballard said. And then the second round, who knew? They had a first round grade on Dio, so that's another situation that you have to think about. Let's look at some more questions. If you could steal a player from a divisional rival, who would it be? McChicken, come on. Really? If I could steal a player from a divisional rival, who would it be and why? Loyalist, I'll give it to you. A player that's on a divisional rival team. Who would you steal from another team if you could?
Patrick Mahomes.
That's not our divisional rival, though.
I know.
Conference rival. Either on Houston, the Titans, or the Jaguars.
Okay, well, I guess I'd have to figure out, am I trying to help the Colts, or am I trying to hurt the other team more?
Well,
because
it'd probably be a little of both, wouldn't it?
Huh?
If you're taking the player, that's a little bit of both.
Well, yeah, but that player, man, because I was sitting here thinking like a Trevor Lawrence or something like that, let's slow Jacksonville down, because right now their train's rolling.
Yeah.
So let's make them have a bumpy ride. But who would it be? It'd have to be a pass rusher to help the Colts. I would, why am I drawing a blank here?
Jacksonville's got Josh Allen. He's pretty solid. He was hurt last year, but he's pretty darn solid.
Or Tennessee and Simmons. I like Simmons quite a bit.
Yeah, but he's a defensive tackle. But put him beside freaking DeForest Buckner. That'd be nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we could say, okay, Derek, now what are you gonna do?
Yeah, true enough. Now, if Deshaun Watson wasn't having his problems, I'd say Deshaun Watson in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, I would say Deshaun Watson. But that's a tough one for me. I would probably say Henderson from Jacksonville, the cornerback. I think he would lock up our second cornerback slot. I think he would do very well opposite Xavier Rhodes. I would not say Henry. I don't expect Henry to last 3 more years. Company Eagle says Henry. I mean, I understand why. I think you would do that to hurt the Titans more than it would help the Colts, in my opinion, because I think the Colts have quality running backs. Henry's better than all of them, yes, now. But Henry's 27 or something of that nature, right? And I think that Jonathan Taylor still has plenty of years. I think Henry's probably got 3 more years of eliteness. But, I mean, honestly, if Deshaun Watson he's just scary. When he's playing, he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, period. He could take, like Andrew Luck, he could take a crap team and boost them to being very, very good. And that's what Watson did. I mean, last year, they tanked the first 4 weeks of the year to get rid of Bill O'Brien, right? That's what they did. They went through 4 weeks. They fired Bill O'Brien. Then the Texans started playing, won 4 games of their last 12. Now, that's better than 0 of 4 beginning. He still had over 5,000 yards passing. Had he been on a winning team with his stats that he had, he would have been in the MVP conversation. But because his team was not winning, he was out of the MVP conversation. I mean, Watson had stupid stats last year. And that was without DeAndre Hopkins, right? I mean, so, yeah, Watson, if I had to. But if I was trying to help my team overall without hurting another, because that would hurt the Texans and help us both equally. But we have Carson Wentz. And I have faith that Carson Wentz can do well. So I would want to fill a void that we need, like what you're talking about with extra pass rush. I think C.J. Henderson would be a great pick from Jacksonville. Let's go back on here. That guy, M-Dub. What's up? He says still Watson. I believe it. Jimmy G. What's going on? Are you going to make the starting lineup for the Niners? Oh, sorry. Thanks for being on the stream. Appreciate you. Do you think Jonathan Taylor will start the season how it ended? ... On fire? It's going to be very difficult. And I'm going to say that because look at the 5 teams we play against. Now, Seattle, I could see him running pretty good on Seattle. Seattle's run defense ain't bad. But, I mean, it's not top 5. But it ain't bad. It's like top 10. But I don't see him running the ball a whole lot because their pass defense is god-awful. And that's why I think that Carson Wentz will have a very good game week 1. Then you go to the Rams, who have a top 5 run defense. Then you got the Ravens, who are a good run defense. You got Miami, who's got a really good run defense. I mean, those 5 teams, they've all got good defenses. So, will he be on fire? Maybe not. But I think he'll be good enough that'll keep him in the running for when we start playing weaker teams. Because, let's face it, most running backs get all their chunk yardage, unless your name is Derrick Henry, against weaker run defenses, right? And the first 5 weeks, there's a lot of good run defenses that the Colts face against. You have any thoughts about how Jonathan Taylor might start out?
Yeah, I think that he's going to be more of an important piece for us early on. I know what you're saying with the run defense and stuff, but I feel like with the question mark that we have at left tackle, I mean, linemen always want to block for the run before the pass. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I can see that. Also, we want to get Carson Wentz to find his rhythm, find the flow through the year, not just through game 1. So I can see a lot of the run setting up the pass. But now, there again, like you said, you get into week 2, you know. I mean, I'm glad Seattle's first and LA's second. Let's just put it that way. Because, man. But, yeah, like I said, I do think that JT is going to have an amazing year. And that's the thing about a lot of the young talent that we have this year. I mean, I see our team getting better just with everybody progressively getting better individually. I just think the team is going to get an extra win or a win and a half, out of that, just out of the talent that we have, not to mention, the draft and Fisher and Carson Wentz and stuff like that. Like I said, I think by week 3, week 4, I think this thing's going to be rolling very good.
That one guy says Adoree Jackson would fill the cornerback spot. And, yeah, I like Adoree Jackson, but I think I like C.J. Henderson more. Just because, last year was his rookie year, and he played pretty good. I mean, I think he only had one interception, and that was against Indy, that week 1. But he showed promise, and I like that. And I'll take promise on a rookie. We're closing in on an hour, ladies and gentlemen. So please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe. If you're not subscribed, tag notification bell. Make sure all notifications turned on. I'd really appreciate that. There's a share link. There's a little button. You click it. It pops down. There's a little link that you copy and paste to other places. Doing that, posting it to like your Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or sports blogs that you might have. It helped me out a ton. I'd really appreciate that. Help me I'm getting a lot less. I got about half of my views are you guys. You guys, which is awesome. But for some reason, YouTube is not putting my stuff out there to new viewers. So I can't get more subscribers unless I'm able to actually physically put it out there myself. And I've only got so much access. Guys like you help me out a ton, so I appreciate any help that you can give me. Company Eagle says, we have advantage offensively as far as film goes. Wright can dial up some surprises early. Yes, I think so. I believe that as well. I think Wright, because of the diversity the Colts have on offense, skill-wise, I think that he's going to have a heyday drawing up plays and calling them. Is there anything? Yeah, you probably don't have Avid up. Here, I'm going to drop this one to you. Jimmy G says, I really like Hines and wish they would use him more in the gameplay just because he makes a difference. Makes defenses guess on what is going on. What are your thoughts on Nahim Hines and how he'll be used this upcoming season?
I think he's going to be used a little bit less in the run compared to what he was last year because we lost Marlon Mack. I think that the pass game, I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to not use him in the running back. You have to use him a little bit just to keep them guessing, like Jimmy G said. I'm sorry, I had to read who was it. But, no, like I said, I think Nahim Hines is going to just continue to build on what he's been doing years, 3 and 4. I mean, I believe that most of the team, just like you said last night, I think most of the guys are going to elevate just with Carson Wentz being in here and having that more live arm. I mean, no knock on Phil, but I mean, just having that real lively arm. And that seems to open up the playbook. And now you're giving the defense more to think about. And who takes the best advantage of that? Mr. Nahim Hines. You can find him anywhere in space. And, that's an awesome thing to see. When he's in space with the ball in his hand, you don't know what's going to happen. But it's going to be electric.
Yeah, that's why he's the punt returner. Call Me Young asked a question about something we already answered earlier. Well, I didn't answer it, but it's one of my go-tos for this training camp. It says Yasin versus Carey versus Tell. Who's taking that third corner spot? And I think it's Rock Yasin's to lose. And I say it that way because Tell can play corner, but he played mostly safety. and he's been off for a year. Took the COVID season last season off, and Carey, he's good. He showed that he could play that outside corner, but we also need a backup for the slot, and he plays slot very, very well behind Kenny Moore. I mean, if it's 4 wide receivers, then you're going to want Carey on the other slot receiver. So, yeah, I think it's Yasin's to lose unless one of the other two step up big time. Who do you think is going to take that spot? Number one?
I think Yasin's going to come in. I mean, he's had a whole year and a half of listening to people, you know what I mean? It's just like Carson. I really think these two guys, the chip on their shoulder, they're going to play amazing as long as that chip don't get in the way. Like I said, I really think Rocky Sin coming into year 3. I think another year being hooked up with Xavier Rhodes, following his guidance and stuff and seeing what I just think he's just going to come in and I think he's going to make everybody forget in a couple years that we were going, do you remember when Rock was, this and that? Because to me, the easiest thing to solve is the penalties. To me, it seems like the training to keep your hands out of, that mentally, that's a mental thing. That's not a physical thing. That's not something that he's doing because he's not there. I mean, he's there. He's just that last second before the ball gets there, he's constantly putting his hands on. I think if he could get past that, I think that he's going to be an amazing.
There was a question. I'm trying to find it again because I messed up. Oh yeah, Ant Rogers, what's up? I'm gonna get to this question for you since you're also one of my patrons. Any guy that you would be surprised but not shocked to see not get a contract extension? And the number one guy that jumps in my mind is Nahim Hines. I would be surprised if he doesn't. But, and this is a big but, I think he provides a valuable resource, but the Colts only have so much money to go around. And they got some big names they got to come up with re-signing as well. Hines might be able to get $8+ million from another team. And Hines' agent probably knows that. And I don't think the Colts can afford to give him $8+ million. So unless Hines is willing to take a pay cut to stay with the Colts, he may not get a contract extension. Not from the lack of trying from Indy, but just for the fact that, Hines might want to go somewhere else and test free agency to see how much he can get offered. Is there a guy that you think would be surprising but not shocked to see not get a contract extension?
I would have to agree, especially now after Fisher coming in, and if he plays like we're hoping he does, we're going to need to re-sign him next year along with Q. I do think that, the upside to Ballard doing his job so well is it's going to be hard to keep on to some of these guys. So, are you going to give up your rock left tackle, or are you going to give up a running back that opens up your offense? But, is easily, I don't know. He's not easily replaced, but it's easier to find a Nahim Hines than it would be a Quentin Nelson or a Fisher or anything of that nature.
Or Darius Leonard. Yeah, I agree. That guy, M-Dub, what's up? Who's going to be comeback player of the year for the Colts? I mean, come on. I got Wentz all day. But if I'm going to go away from the obvious, Ty could be in that conversation, even though I think breakout player will be Paris Campbell. I think Ty has that opportunity to be comeback player. He didn't have that many yards last year, that many targets. I think if he could stay healthy and be out there, I think he could be one of those guys that, especially early on, Carson Wentz will be able to trust a little bit and throw the football to. Who would be your comeback player of the year if you weren't going Carson Wentz, or would you go Carson Wentz?
Oh, I would.
Okay.
We need him to be the comeback player. How's that?
Yeah.
But who would I be? I'm pushing for Rock. I think Rock, I mean, I know he wasn't injured, but, I mean, neither was Carson for that matter. But I do think that Rock is going to have a year that's going to make a lot of Colts fans forget about the last couple, because Rock he's there. I mean, his makeup speed has increased over the last couple of years. He's finding himself in better positions. I mean, I really believe if he can get the hands on the ball instead of the opponent, I think a lot of his play, a lot of his numbers are going to flip. I guess he would be the easiest to turn it around, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
All right, so staying on what you just talked about, Company Eagles puts in Rock needs to focus more on the ball and not the receiver. That's what stood out on his college tape for me, his ball hawking. Now, I'm going to explain something. I've said this a few times in past streams, and Rock Ya-Sin is good in zone coverage. There's a reason why he's good in zone coverage, because exactly what you just said. He sits back and watches the quarterback. When you're a zone coverage guy, you don't look at the receivers. You look at the zone, and you kind of get a peripheral feel for the area immediately around you. And then when the ball comes your way, you read and react to it. When you're in man coverage, it's completely different. You never, ever look back at the quarterback. Your eyes are always on the guy that you're watching, and you have to stick to him like glue, and that's where Rock starts to have issues, because he becomes a little too handsy and a little too physical, and he draws penalties. That's a problem that he needs to work on. Loyalist mentioned it earlier about, he's been hearing this all year for a year and a half now. I'm sure he's working on it. He's healthy. He's out there working with stuff. He's probably been working with people all off season about this, because he's heard it ever since his rookie season. So, yes, you are right. And at the same time, it's that one half of the coverage. Now, the Colts play zone coverage most of the time. And I think that's why it kind of hurts him, because when they flip the man coverage, he's used to playing zone. He's not used to playing man. And he feels like he's getting burnt when he's playing man coverage, and he feels like he's got to reach out and grab somebody. That's just how I feel. Ant Rogers says, I could see Paris Campbell 800 yards, 4 touchdowns. What would you list Paris Campbell getting this year if he stays healthy the entire year?
If he's healthy, I like the 800 yards, but the 4 touchdowns I think needs to be more like 6, some closer to 6,
See, I'm a little different. The 4 touchdowns, I could see 4 or 5 touchdowns. I think he could get at least 1,100 yards if he stays healthy. I think he'll lead the Colts in receiving yardage if he stays healthy this year. I think Michael Pittman Jr. leads the Colts in touchdowns. I think he'll get 10 plus. The Colts could have 2 1,000-yard receivers. Or you could end up with 1,000 and a couple guys with 600 to 800. I could see Pittman, if he's staying healthy, gets 800 yards, but like 10 touchdowns, right? I can see T.Y. also 800 to 1,000 yards. T.Y. just was asked that question by Darius Butler a couple days ago. Asked him, will you reach 1,000 yards this year with Carson Wentz? His reply was, easily. So, yeah. But yeah, I actually think that Paris Campbell, when healthy, because he's so dynamic in the open field and so fast and so go watch my film room on Paris. I got a film room on Michael Pittman. I got our film room on Paris. Paris is so hard to cover. That's why Paris, I think, will get a lot of looks, because it's going to be, if he is healthy, he is incredibly difficult to cover by any type of cornerback in the NFL. If you're fast, you're generally short. Paris is 6 foot tall, right? Which is tall for those fast guys. Fast guys are generally 5'10" or something, like T.Y. Hilton. But Paris is fast, so if you put a big corner on him, he's running right by him, no problem. Wide open. That's why I think Paris Campbell, that's a huge if he can stay healthy, is going to get. He's going to be that guy. I mean, his yak yards are going to be ridiculous because of how quick he is. What are your thoughts on who do you think is going to have a bigger year, Michael Pittman or Ty?
Pittman. I think, yeah. I think Ty. I just don't see him making as many continuing plays like he has in the past. I think now with Paris Campbell, I think he's going to take more of those third down options, those third down receptions for first down. I think Ty is going to go back to the stretch in the field, or decoying himself, and putting all the pressure on the safeties. And I think that's going to open up the underneath for the Michael Pittmans and the Paris Campbells to, like you said, catch and then run after the catch.
I'm going to get to the Anthony Hertz question in just a second, but first I want to welcome the LA Rams fan that is in the chat right now. Welcome to the chat. I haven't quite gotten to talk about the Rams much. I talk about the NFL in general. I have, as many of you know, if you've seen my discussions about it, I think the Rams are going to be the number one team in the NFC this year. I think they take the first seed. I think they have the best shot at taking the first seed. I think they're the best team in the NFC. Yes, even over Tampa Bay. Matt Stafford is a huge deal to that team, in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of Matt Stafford, and I think that him going to that organization with Sean McVay and those receivers is just scary. But that's just my thought process. There is a question here. Anthony Hurt has a question. Why is it so hard for the Colts to reach 40-plus points? I know why it's hard for the Colts. First off, it's hard for any team in the NFL unless you are a pass-heavy team. Colts are not a pass-heavy team, or haven't been in recent years. They have been run-heavy. And when you run heavy, you eat a lot of clock, which gives you less time to make plays, especially big plays, to score points, which means you're usually scoring less because you're eating more time off the clock by running the football. That is exactly why that happens. Ram says, hit the like button. Appreciate that. Thanks so much. I think most of my guys generally do. And if you haven't, what are you waiting on? Please smash that like button. This one goes to you by Jimmy G. You're getting a couple questions from Jimmy G, actually. Does Taylor run for 1,000 yards in 16 games? Not 17, but in just 16 games? Will he reach 1,000 yards?
Yes. I think that Taylor is going to go for about 1,250 and 17. That's sort of where I'm thinking he's going. Like I said, I think the Colts are going to lean heavy on the run game early in the year. And then once they start filling that box, putting that 8th, 9th man in the box, I believe that's when the pass game is going to take off. But Frank Reich, like I said, our offensive line and our running backs are by far our strength of our team, I think. I believe that you can't turn your back to the strength even though everything else is really good. So I do still believe that we are going to get a good, I think, 1,200 from JT, and I'm thinking 650 to 700 from Marlon this year.
Okay. That one guy asked, where would you rank the Colts coaching staff compared to the rest of the AFC? Well, I'm not going to say number one. I love the Colts coaching staff, but I'm not going to say number one, and there's a reason for that. There's a lot of good coaching staffs in the AFC.
There is. And I'll tell you, that Kansas City's coaching staff, from the head coach down, is really impressive. Mm-hmm. But I would definitely say we're a top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as far as taking young talent and coaching them up and actually coaching, I feel like we're very, very strong in that area. I feel like a lot of teams, or in the pros, I feel like the majority of the teams, that coaching sort of, I think managing the players is more important than coaching the players. Whereas the Colts, like I said, one of my biggest questions for this year is which position coach is going to have this breakout coaching performance, because we've got Strasser with the O-line. He's got to get everything sorted out early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you got Rowe with the cornerbacks. And I mean, I've already heard a couple of the guys saying that, yeah, he's really connecting. He's really able to communicate well. And we need, like I said, we need to figure out a long-term, where do some of these guys fall in? And then, who was the other one? Oh, Brian Baker. I'm a huge fan of Brian Baker. I think the job he's got this year ahead of him, I've got to believe he's just salivating. Can't wait to get these guys, in the classroom, out on the field, in the weight room, and just mold these young guys into what he hopes to see them be.
Okay. Ram says that he thinks the Colts will be 11-6 or 12-5 this season. I actually have them listed 11-6, and a lot of my fans were upset with me, thinking that I was, underselling the Colts. But just looking at their schedule and going, holy crap! Look at some of the teams we play, right? Including the Rams, week 2, which I have them as their only loss in the first 5 games, which is amazing because they play 10, or they play 5 straight 10-plus win teams from last year to open the season. So, but yeah, there's a lot of teams out there that have really good head coaches, right? I mean, Harbaugh, right? Mike Tomlin. I hate to say it, Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick's still a good coach. I mean, come on. You got the Miami coach. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. There are good coaches out there. Now it's what you got on the offensive coordinator position and defensive coordinator position and your position coaches. I like the Colts position coaches. Something that's holding the Steelers or the Ravens back, for instance. Roman. Is it Greg Roman, I believe it is, right? Offensive coordinator. I think he holds the Ravens back because I think he's too sold in on the style of offense that he's running on. He doesn't mix it up properly, in my opinion, and that's why the Ravens can't get anywhere in the playoffs. Brian Flores, thank you, Dabney. I think Brian Flores is a very good coach over there in Miami. I have yet to see Robert Saleh. We haven't seen him as a head coach yet over at the Jets. We'll see what he does. He was definitely a very good defensive coordinator, but we've seen coordinators take head coaching jobs that just suck horribly. Like the Patriots offensive coordinator went to Denver and just blew a big one, right? And then went back, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, Ballard wanted to hire him, and he turned us and he said no, and went back on doing that, which was to the Colts' benefit and everybody else's benefit, because we got Frank Reich, who I think is a top 5 head coach in the AFC. I do. And depending upon what happens this year, especially on the offensive side, he could be in the running for head coach of the year, depending upon what happens. If Carson Wentz does succeed this year and the Colts are able to perform well, be that top 10 offense against these teams that we're playing against, it could be huge. Jimmy, I don't know about Eason because, he's got a lot of good arm strength and talent and all that, but we have yet to actually see him take a snap visually before our eyes, and that's how I gain my opinions on stuff, is watching film. So, ladies and gentlemen, I see 32 of you in here. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes. I think I've held Loyalist long enough. Appreciate you guys. You could follow me. And links down there. There is Loyalist's link to his Twitter as well. Make sure you go give him a follow as well. I will be having him on with me more often, at least once a week. And don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell, and please share the link to this stream or other streams that you like. If you like this stream, go check out other ones, right? And then if you like them enough, maybe share videos that you'll like to, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever team stuff that you like, whatever. I'd really appreciate it. That's how I grow, is people like you. So until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And until next time, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.